The explosive truth, volcanoes on other planets.
Are Earth's volcanoes the only showstoppers in our solar system? Hold on to your hats, because it turns out they're not. Other planets boast their own fiery mountains, and some are even more mind-blowing. Mars, for instance, is home to Olympus Mons, the largest volcano we know of. It's so big that the base would cover the whole state of New Mexico. But here's where it gets extra interesting. Olympus Mons isn't just big, it's tall, 3 times taller than Mount Everest. Imagine looking up at a mountain that scrapes the Martian sky and is nearly 14 miles high. Unlike Earth's volcanoes, which are often packed around the Ring of Fire in the Pacific, Olympus Mons sits on a planet without tectonic plates, meaning it just kept on growing without the lava source moving. And the coolest part? This Martian volcano is so colossal, if you were standing on the summit, the edges of it would stretch beyond the horizon. That's right, you wouldn't even see where it ends. So when you think of volcanoes, remember, Earth's fiery mountains have some pretty impressive relatives in our solar family.
Can the internet weigh as much as a strawberry?
Hold on to your screens. Did you know the entire internet might weigh about the same as a small strawberry? How can all those videos, emails, and memes have a weight? Well, it's not the information itself. It's the electrons that store and move the data. They're super tiny, so tiny that about 1 billion, yes, 2 billions, of them equal the mass of 1 grain of sand. Now think of how many electrons are zooming around in all the billions of devices connected to the internet. A physicist named Russell Seitz decided to work this out. He estimated that at any given moment, the internet is actively using about 50 grams of electrons. In simpler terms, if we could gather all those electrons together, they'd weigh about as much as a strawberry. So next time you're scrolling through your feed or watching videos online, remember you're lifting the weight of a fruit worth of electrons right in the palm of your hand. Isn't that very interesting?
Whispering giants, the loudest insect you've never heard.
Get ready to be amazed by a tiny creature with a mighty voice. The African bush cricket, also known as a katydid, might just be the loudest insect in the world. These little green critters can belt out a call at over 106 decibels. That's as loud as a chainsaw or a rock concert. To put that in perspective, if a person were to shout as loudly as this tiny bug, they could be heard from over a mile away. How do they make such a racket? They rub their wings together, a motion known as stridulation, to attract mates or ward off predators. But the most incredible part? Their ears are on their knees. Yes, you heard right. Instead of hearing through their heads, they pick up sounds through tiny organs located on their front legs. So next time you think about who's the loudest at the party, remember the African bush cricket, the insect that could easily drown out your conversation without even trying.
How did turtles beat humans to space?
Believe it or not, turtles were space explorers before humans even left Earth's atmosphere. That's right, in 1968, a Soviet space mission named Zond 5 sent 2 brave tortoises into space, along with other small life forms, like fruit flies and plants. The turtles went on a fantastic voyage around the moon and back, and they did it a whole year before humans made their historic Apollo 11 trip to the moon in 1969. These cosmic turtles turned into superstars and helped scientists learn a lot about how living organisms deal with space travel. They were weightless for around a week. And guess what? They came back just fine, although a tiny bit lighter. The mission showed that creatures could survive the trip into space, which is super important for planning human space adventures. So next time, when you see a turtle slowly crawling along, remember that its fellow turtle astronauts have zoomed around the moon. Slow and steady won the space race, at least for these shelled pioneers.
The star that left its footprints in time.
Did you ever hear about a star moving across the universe and leaving a trail behind, like a cosmic snail? Well, let me introduce you to Mira, a star 350 light-years away that does exactly that. This red giant star isn't just sitting pretty in space, it's speeding through at a breakneck pace of 291,000 miles per hour. Because it's moving so fast, Mira leaves behind a tail that's 13 light-years long. Imagine a trail that could fit 126,000 Earths in a row. But why does it have a tail? Mira is shedding material, creating a wake of gas and dust as it goes, just like a boat on water. Astronomers call it a comet-like tail. This isn't something you can see with just any old telescope. It was discovered with a space telescope that could observe in ultraviolet light. So the next time you gaze up at the stars, think about Mira. The star zipping through the galaxy, leaving its mark for thousands of years to come. Isn't space fascinating?
What's a fire and ice combo in nature?
Picture a place where fire meets ice, kind of like having a barbecue in a snowstorm. Sounds crazy, right? But it's totally real. There's a rare phenomenon where volcanoes and glaciers exist together, and it's called ice cap volcanoes. Places like Iceland are famous for this hot and cold special, where big chilly glaciers sit on top of super hot volcanoes. It's like nature's own science experiment. When these volcanoes erupt, they can cause massive floods by quickly melting the ice above them. It's a dramatic display of Earth's power, with steam and ash shooting up through the ice. But it's not just a cool light show. These eruptions can actually help scientists understand more about volcanoes and how they interact with ice, which is really important as our climate changes. So, remember this unusual combo the next time you see ice and think it's just about the cold. Hidden beneath could be a fiery mountain just waiting for its spotlight moment, mixing up a recipe for some spectacular natural fireworks.
Is it possible for an elephant to use a trampoline?
Have you ever imagined an elephant bouncing on a trampoline? Well, it turns out that could be bad news for the trampoline, but did you know elephants are more bouncy than you might think? They might not fly through the air, but elephants are the only mammals that can't jump. Yes, really. These enormous animals have super heavy bodies and legs that are great for supporting weight, but not for leaping. Even baby elephants stay grounded. Their legs work like strong pillars, giving them excellent support to carry their hefty frame. So why would they need to jump anyway? They are so big that they don't have many predators to hop away from. Plus, with a hefty stomp, they can send signals to other elephants miles away through the ground. It's like they have their own secret messaging app. No Wi-Fi needed. Jumping might seem like fun to us, but these giants have their own way of doing things that suits their size. Just imagine if elephants could jump. The jump rope industry would never be the same.
Could ants really take over the world?
What if I told you that, by weight, all the ants on Earth could rival the weight of all the humans? That's right. Ants are tiny, but their numbers are mind-blowingly huge. There are millions of billions of these small insects bustling around the world, doing their ant things. If you could pile all the ants together, they would weigh about the same as all 7 billion humans combined. Now that's a lot of ants. These little creatures are super strong for their size too. Some can lift things that are 50 times their own body weight. If you were that strong, you could lift a car with your bare hands. Ants are also great team players. They work together to build complex homes called anthills, hunt for food, and protect their queen. Because ants are so good at working in big groups, they can take on challenges much bigger than themselves. They might not really be plotting to take over the world, but when it comes to being mighty mites, ants surely punch way above their weight class.
Can chocolate really grow on trees?
Imagine if chocolate bars grew on trees. While you can't pluck a tasty candy bar straight off a branch, chocolate does start its journey on a tree, the cacao tree to be exact. The secret to chocolate's yummy taste is the cacao beans that grow in pods hanging from the cacao tree. These pods look like a weird mix between a football and a lemon. They're seriously strange and colourful. Inside the pods are the precious beans, which are surrounded by a slightly sweet and tangy pulp. But here's the weird part. The beans don't taste like chocolate at all when they're fresh. They're actually pretty bitter. It's only after they're fermented, dried, roasted, and mixed with sugar and other ingredients that we get the chocolate we know and love. This process is a bit like magic, turning something not so tasty into a treat that people go crazy for. So next time you're munching on a chocolate bar, remember, it's all thanks to a tree that grows some radically bitter beans, transformed into sweet, mouth-watering deliciousness.
Can you guess which animal's poop is cube-shaped?
Imagine you're walking in the Australian wilderness and you find some strange cube-shaped droppings. You might think you've come across a bizarre practical joke, but in reality, you've just discovered the unusual poop of a wombat. Yes, wombats are the only animals in the world whose poop is cube-shaped. The reason behind this peculiar trait lies in their digestion. It takes about 2 weeks for a wombat to fully digest its food. During this slow process, their feces become extremely dry and compact, forming into cubes. You may wonder why this matters. Well, wombats use their poop to mark their territory and communicate with other wombats. The cube shape prevents the feces from rolling away, ensuring their messages stay right where they are placed, on top of rocks and logs. Isn't it fascinating how nature comes up with such unique solutions for animals' needs? Follow me for more fun facts.